like an old man, but I was like, these kids are going to change the world. Finally. It was just so great. And I think they are bringing a message to where it has to be heard.
Yeah. Shirley, thanks for your call today. And Joe, it's like Obama said yesterday, young people have led every movement. Whether it's environmentalists, whether it's, LGBT rights, and whether it's the women's movement, the feminist movement, the civil rights movement back in the 60s. It really has to be the anti-war movement, right? They're leading
the dreamers, the young dreamers.
Yeah, and the dreamers, of course. Yep. Yeah. Let's say hi to Dr. W in Ohio. Hi, Doctor.
Hi, Michelangelo. I just, real quick, I'm going to make this as efficient as possible, about 60 seconds. I first want to let you know I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller, and I appreciate what you do and how you do it.
Well,
with
thanks.
all of my heart. Your voice is so important and transformative, and thank you. So two things.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to share what happened to me yesterday, which is profoundly inspirational. Right when the news broke about James Mattis and him coming out fully swinging against Trump, about hour and a half, 2 hours after that, out of the blue, I received a message from my cousin, who has been just the strongest, staunchest Trump supporter, and he reached out to me asking what he can do to help heal the racial division. And we ended up talking on the phone for half an hour. It's not that he and I have any bad blood or anything, quite the opposite. We love each other. We just haven't talked in years. He, I think, blocked me on Facebook, around the 2016 election. But, he reached out to me. And basically we had this conversation where he was like, I get it. I get it now. I used to think that, do they really have it worse than us? You just got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But he's telling me now I get it. And my heart hurts, and I don't know what to do. Can you give me some guidance? And so we had a beautiful conversation. And then Michelangelo, about an hour and a half after that, one of my best friends in the world from back home, who I've remained close with, he called me completely unprompted again, and the exact same thing.
Wow.
My friend who called me, he's a very, very far right. And he often, over the years, would talk about the coming race war. And he would, use language at times that, but a complete transformation. And it was basically the same conversation where he was saying, hey.
And did it start with the James Mattis letter? Was that part of it?
The reason why I bring that up is because I feel like there is some sort of genuine transformation of consciousness happening, and it is a beautiful thing. And I think James Mattis's change of heart, and it's not necessarily he's had a change of heart, but he's speaking up about it now. But just from my experience, just yesterday alone, it seems like there is something happening, and it's something positive, and it's something beautiful. And I just implore all of us to act with love and compassion and understanding and listening, because that's how we will, build a better society.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have stopped talking to them, and would have just written them out of my life, that this wouldn't have happened.
Wow.
With the conversations I had with them yesterday. So it's important that, so that's just the first point I wanted to make. I want to make just one more point, and then I can take my answers off the air. This goes back to what Joe Sudbay was just saying. He was basically saying that, Trump has nothing to run on. And that's a very good point. And to that point, and you obviously don't have to do this, Michelangelo, but this is just something I'm offering up to you. If a conservative Christian Trump supporter calls you and starts, here is one question that you can ask them. Ask them, what aspects of Jesus Christ do they think Donald Trump most emulates? Because that question in and of itself, I think kind of,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So,
I hear you. I am so glad to hear about that. What an uplifting call to hear about the people who transformed and how this moment has done that. That is, if that is happening in families and networks of friends around the country like that, then this movement is really creating massive transformation. Thank you, Dr. W, for your call today. That's pretty amazing, Joe, huh?
Yeah, that was great to hear. And I think that it's great that people are reaching out and people want to talk, especially white people. We have to listen, we have to hear, and we have to follow and act. And I think that it's so great when you hear, and especially coming from people who Dr. W made pretty clear come from the opposite end of the spectrum. And I hope there's a lot more of that. I think sometimes we see so much of the ugliness on Twitter and Facebook and elsewhere, but hopefully there are people whose minds have been opened. And I mean, I don't know how anyone could have watched the video, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds of a man being killed before the eyes of now the world, George Floyd, and not be changed by it. But
right. Well, there will be those who,
right,
just are never going to change. And
right.
when
know
he
that.
said, ask those conservative Christians, what does he emulate about Jesus? I mean, we have, and they have talked about that, and they just have a different Jesus in their minds. They just think of Jesus as this, I guess they use the one example of like Jesus in the temple being angry or something, and that's all they see is Jesus, right? They don't see Jesus helping the poor. They don't see Jesus, reaching out to a sex worker. They don't see Jesus, as a civil rights leader, fighting against racism and oppression, right? They don't see any of that, right?
No, they see Jesus through right-wing conservative judges, because judges mean more than justice to them.
Right. We're going to have to take a break, Joe. This has been great having you here, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Really, really great to have you on the show and have an extended time where we can take calls too. So thank you for coming
it was great.
Today.
And I always love the callers, from this show, and I love the audience. I say it all the time, but it is this audience and this community that helps get us through this. So thank you, Mike, and thanks anytime. You know it.
Thank you.
To talk to you.
Joe Sudbay. Follow him on Twitter @Joe Sudbay. We're back in a few minutes.